participants, the bottom left, there you go, pick that up. And I'll click on the 4 there, and then admit all.
Everybody's in?
Okay.
All right, 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Kyleman.
Present.
Councilmember Happy.
Here.
Councilmember Seeger.
Here.
Councilmember Pruitt.
Here.
Councilmember Price.
Excuse.
Councilmember Cramlett.
Here.
And Mayor Wood.
Here.
Right, thank you. And we have 2 additions to the agenda this evening. So we're gonna add 3D, which is approved Landmass Wines OLCC special event application, and 3E, approved Tough Talk Distilling LLC special event application. You have a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I will move to adopt the consent agenda, which includes approval of action minutes of March 9th, 2026, ratification of the bills in the amount of $280,522.63, approve the allowable cost policy, approve the Landmass Wines OLCC special events application, and approve the Tough Talk Distilling Is it OLCC or
It's
LLC?
actually LLC, the company, and I should have said OLCC special event.
Okay, OLCC special events application, okay.
Thank you, Tiffany. We got a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Discussion.
I just have a question, I asked it before, but just so everybody knows, why is the allowable cost policy, is that part of the consent agenda, not?
I put it in the consent agenda because it's a standard, government required document that just indicates what we can spend our money on and what we can't spend. And it's a fairly simple. And I put it on the consent agenda because it comes from, the 2014, the government passed requirements for federal entities receiving federal dollars had to declare what they were going to spend the money on. They couldn't spend it on things like alcohol or tobacco or public relations for whatever their project is. And then in 2024, that law was expanded to anybody who received federal requirement dollars that are non-federal agencies, i.e. cities, and we get, and counties and states. Then you have to have a federal policy that says this is what you can spend your money on. As lots of governments do, we plagiarized the city of Florence and tweaked it just a little bit to make it applicable for us.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, so I went through it and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but there are several statements in here that I think conflict with how we operate as a city. I'll give you an example. One is reconnection charges. I have the exact section in front of me. And then it says reconnection charges for utilities, telephone, internet, etc. is unallowable. The city shall maintain accounts, and then continues, but we do charge reconnection charges.
Do you know where that is?
Just a second.
Because I'm not sure I saw that. So,
Yeah. Go down to, it starts, all these are under selected item of cost. And it says stuff like alcoholic beverages, there's no issue there, but if you keep going, you'll see the,
Page 11.
that's
yeah, 12, let's see. Yeah, wait a second. Reconnection was,
Reconnection charges on page 14.
okay, yeah. All right, and then I saw a few other ones, I didn't go consent sequentially. The other one they had was lobbying political activities, the cost of certain influencing activities, including, member of the, let's say, legislature, it's unallowable, contracts, et cetera. And we literally just did that. So, and I would like to have the freedom to do that in the future as an entity. And then the other one I identified was legal expenses.
Where is that?
That was on 13.
Okay.
And then you have legal expenses, the cost of legal representation related to claims against the city as part of an administrative appeal, a result of civil or criminal act, is generally not an allowable cost. Again, we don't know what the future is, but I can imagine. So, and then the other one was investment management costs. Now, the city doesn't have an investment manager, but I worked for 2 other cities where we had a big enough portfolio that we contracted out with a third-party manager to help us manage our investments. And we're small today. We could be bigger someday when we need those services. Again, it's another example of like something that should be allowable, even though we're not using it. In the future, we may. And so anyway, I saw those 4 and thought, I don't know if I'm reading it wrong or we need to amend it.
We can amend it, I think that's fine, I'm trying to struggle. Administrative cost grants, we do lobbying activities all the time.
Sure, exactly. So I guess an idea would maybe to pull it, have the administrator kind of review it, and maybe pick all that stuff out and then bring it back to us at our next meeting.
Or you could, if you're comfortable with it, we can remove those right now. I don't have a problem with that.
What was the fourth one?
The reconnection charges, the investment management charges, legal expenses for administrative appeals and lobbying political activities. The legal expenses for administrative appeals seems to be directed that we're not gonna pay for a city employee's, in legal fees if he committed a criminal act while in process of being a city, city function.
So it looks to me like all they're saying, this is dealing with a grant from the government, anything from the federal government. So all they're saying is, if we give you money and something happens, you're not using our money to reconnect somebody. You wanna reconnect them, you pay for the reconnection.
See, I didn't read it that way. Maybe that is what their intention, but I didn't read it that way.
And I was kind of along the lines of Tom, I was hoping that you could explain how you did read it.
I didn't see anything that says, if you get federal funds, then these are only allowable costs. I never saw that language.
I thought that was in the beginning.
I guess that's what this thing's all about,
Yeah.
the use of federal funds. Well, they're saying that
I was looking for that.
if we give you a grant for something, you can't use it for these things, which is.
Correct. This last right here, it says for costs to be allowable, they must be reasonable, necessary, and provide a benefit to the project or program. Costs not directly related to project or program needs are unallowable. It's like the last paragraph before all their little bullet points on page 11.
I see that, yeah. And I don't think I'd take issue with that.
Are we ready to take a vote on this, or do we wanna pull this and, review it at the next meeting? Is there is there a deadline that we need to hit to have this?
We had to have it in place by the 15th. And so this is a confirmation. It's another reason why it was on the consent.
I would say that we go ahead and pass it and let them flush it out, and if they see significant changes. Because to me, from what I'm reading, this only has to do with grant, this only has to do with grant money, this doesn't have to do with.
Everyday operating.
Yeah.
We're not gonna use grant money to lobby for us, we're not gonna use grant money for disconnect or
Correct.
reconnect fees, we're not gonna use, so.
It's limited in scope because as
Very
Tom brought up, it's only applied to how we use grant funds from the federal government.
Right, exactly.
Does anybody take any issue with us moving forward then with the motion as, all right, well then let's, if no further discussion, let's go ahead and, do a vote. Although, we don't do a roll call vote, right? All those in favor say aye.
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 No opposed, motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to 4, appearance of interested citizens to share a variety of perspectives on issues facing our community, and we have nobody. 5, special reports, none. 6, public hearings, none. Moving into 7, reports and presentation, and 7A is efficiency services group.
We have with us tonight Debbie Swanson and Brandon, and I forgot Brandon's name already. Brandon, what's your last name? Blanchard.
Blanchard, yes.
Okay, they're from Efficiency Services Group, and they're here to talk to us. There they are.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice. I would like to thank you all for allowing us to present Efficiency Services Group, otherwise known as ESG, at the council meeting. Jordan reached out to us in November to present Efficiency Services Group's role with the city of Cascade Locks. And so it's nice to have this time to give you an overview of ESG and what we do. Next slide. Oh, I'm doing it. Oh, nice. Okay. First, I would like to again introduce myself. I'm Debbie Swanson. I'm the Northwest Program Manager for Efficiency Services Group. I've been with ESG for 16 and a half years since 2009.
I am Brandon Blanchard. I am the field lead at Efficiency Services Group. I have been with the company a little under 5 years now. And Dave Barnhart is our energy services director, and he would have joined us today. He had prior obligations, but he is the contact for all of our third-party contracting services that we can provide. Yeah, we operate out of our headquarters, which is based in Hillsborough. We have about half of our 13 staff located there, the others located around the country.
And I won't go too deeply into the history of ESG. You can see it from the slide. We have been with the city of Cascade Locks since December 5th of 2013. And now I'll go ahead and let you know what we do. Brandon and I work in tandem together on various programs. Our goal at ESG is to create bandwidth for the utilities that we serve. We listen to the utility needs, values, goals, and struggles. Help design programs to fit where you're at. Help the customers and contractors through the rebate process, and educate customers on energy efficiency programs and upgrades. We serve so others can shine. We work with 31 BPA utilities and about 7 California utilities. We have some income qualified programs that we're going to talk a little bit about later through the presentation. And this is just a little bit of an overview of some of the utilities that we work with. And ESG support for Cascade Locks energy efficiency program. Brandon and I are going to double on this slide. I'll tell you what I do, and then Brandon's going to let you know what he does. We work with Cascade Locks to determine offerings for the residential, commercial, and industrial programs. This is my piece of the pie. I submit the invoices to BPA on the behalf of Cascade Locks. I provide monthly reports to the utilities for their customer rebate payments and to let Cascade Locks know the KWH savings. And we track the budget and suggest program modifications as needed. And just as a little side note, this is, I don't know, oh, I don't think you can see this, but we have an actual budget tracker that we reserve projects, we track the budgets, and so that Cascade Locks always knows how much money they have available in their EEI budget.
And along with that, we provide field services for Cascade Locks members and commercial businesses, residential members. I was the City of Cascade Locks field representative from 2022 till about March of last year. So I've been to a few of your residences, providing both energy efficiency audits, talking about bill inquiries, helping with recommendations on how to lower bills, as well as helping commercial programs, like working with the Bonneville tools provided, the online lighting calculator with commercial contractors and lighting installations to get some rebates, including a project last year that captured lighting upgrades that were captured for City Cascade Lock street lights over the last 2 years in 24 and 25 that totaled a payback to the city of $24,700, as well as a performance payment, which also accrued $11,747 back from the implementation budget back into City of Cascade Locks. We also facilitate projects in tandem with your Energy Smart industrial partners. And Debbie can talk a bit more about that relationship as she takes primary ownership of that.
Thank you, Brandon. Last rate period, we worked with Bear Mountain Forest Projects and your Energy Smart industrial partner, and their project saved 85,454.14 kWh, and there was a $11,200 incentive sent to Bear Mountain Forest Products, and the performance payment for the City of Cascade Locks was $6,836.33. So it's really been it's a good working relationship that we have with all of the commercial, industrial, and residential programs. The online forms, we've worked with Jordan to decide what the City of Cascade Locks was going to offer for the residential and the commercial programs. And for the most part, the City of Cascade Locks is giving the full pass-through that Bonneville is allowing. And so we put that on your residential applications, and so that your customers can go in, apply, and then we take that information and anything that is needed for Bonneville requirements, we make sure that that's included, and then we work with your customers or your contractors to get that information. Brandon?
Yeah, and there's the commercial applications, very similar to the residential programs. We will, take any pre-existing documentation that we need, review, ask any questions, get any coordination to find out the proper, direction for the incentive, and hopefully drive some more activity for your programs.
And one final thing that I said. Oh, sorry. Did somebody say something?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. One other little part that I was going to say is when we were talking about the low income programs, Columbia View Apartments has reached out to us. They reached out to us at the last rate period with a project, and it's about $19,000 for the low income work that they're going to be doing, and we haven't found out if this is going to move, if it's moving forward, but it is we have it in your budget tracker so that we've kind of reserved those funds so that that it is possibly coming down the road, and the potential incentive and the potential savings. And now, if anybody has any questions, we'd love to answer questions.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Brandon. Any questions, comments from council? Bernard, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. So just a few questions. One, and I apologize, I got distracted yesterday and didn't get to spend some time looking at everything to send in some questions, but maybe you can help me out here. So do you have an idea or do you have numbers on how many residential customers took advantage of your program in 25 in the last year for Cascade Locks? Do you by chance have that?
Yes, I can get that information in just 1 second.
And then my next question was gonna be, how do we compare to other utilities in uptake? Like, are we at the norm or are we in the low side? How are, yeah.
You're at the lower side. For as far as customer upswing, whoops. Let's see. There we go. So are you just interested in residential residential?
Yeah, let's just start because we don't have that much commercial, but I think the residential numbers would be interesting.
Okay. In the last year, there were 8.
Okay. So again, so when you look at other utilities that you do service for, that's a proportion of our total customer base. And that's on the low end. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we have we have a good sized span, and we also service Minidoka, which they have 35 meters, all the way up to the largest one we have is Central Lincoln. So we have, if you're kind of like in there, I would say you're on maybe the third lower end of that.
Okay. And then my next question, because I've actually taken advantage of this and I really appreciate the value. I did a heat pump project for both my ADU and my house. And in one case, it basically paid for the entire heat pump. It was incredible. And so it's a tremendous value. And I always wonder, where my next question was, have we ever done like a survey to determine, like a random survey of households in Cascade Locks and said, what kind of electric water heater do you have? And did you know that you could qualify for the ESG program and kind of find out what's the need, right? If we assess the need, that would be helpful for us as a city to maybe do a little more marketing or push this as a city so folks can reduce their utility bills, right? I mean, and it's a win-win-win when you, not only is it reducing their utility bills, but we end up buying less tier 2 power, which we're going to talk more about it. The more demand we put on the system, the more we're pushing we have 2 rates of power with Bonneville, and we're pushing in that tier 2 world. So everybody wins, not to mention, the emissions and all the things that improve by just being a smaller footprint. So what is your thought on again, doing a random survey or somehow getting an idea of what we need, and maybe we could push this program a little more?
Would you be? Sorry, Brandon.
No, I would just say I'm glad that you brought it up as a win-win-win. It's really how we always describe and see the programs. And the other thing that I would say is a great method that we utilized before and we could help with would be devising bill stuffers to support programs. It's caused a lot of success, and it's the monthly reminder to your clients that whether they like it or not, it's a method of contact that they can often receive, and it could be a great way to benefit the information. And water heaters are a great program at this point. Currently, they're at a really good rate at this point. So good program.
Thank you, Brandon. And Brenda, I see your hand. We got Tiffany, and then I'll get you.
I was just gonna ask, what do we do to get the information out
It's in the newsletter.
On the website.
on the website?
With, I don't know the percentage, but I think 40% of our customers just get electric bills, electronic bills, they don't get mailed.
Oh,
So we can still do stuffers, but
It's only reaching 60% of the customers. Yeah.
can we post like something on Facebook every once in a while? Something just to remind people.
It's a good thought, because I was just checking out the link on your, on the last page of the handout we got here. There's a website, directefficiency.com/Cascade Locks rebates. And it's very user friendly, and you look at the smart thermostats, there's $140 rebate for a smart thermostat, which would probably almost
Pay for it.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And honestly, if I was in a position to upgrade, I don't know that I would have checked that, so we need to work on getting that word out there. And hold on, Brenda had her hand up, and then I'll get to you, Bernard. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yes, thank you guys, and thank you guys for presenting tonight. I remember, I want to think it's like 10 years ago or something, we did a big thing on the hybrid water heaters. And a lot of people signed up for them because they could practically get them, I think, for very cheap to almost free. And so I think we just need to let people know, because we do have a lot of new community members and stuff. Let them know that we do offer this program, because I think a lot of people just don't even know it exists, or we forget about it. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, and along those same lines, right now, to your point, Bonneville's incentives now have also increased. For a tier 4 heat pump water heater, it's $1,800, which again almost covers the entire water heater. So that's a good amount, and they're good amount savings too.
Bernard.
Yeah, so, but just to circle back to that thought, I have this fear that if I went and visited, I don't know, 100 households in Cascade Locks, I don't know, I feel like a large portion could have taken advantage of this project, of this program, but haven't, right? I just have this, it's an unfounded fear, but I have this fear. I would find a lot of just basic electric elements, water heaters, I would find poorly insulated homes, I would find just and so, but I don't know that. That's why, I mean, have you ever considered a program where, again, you just randomly survey residents and say, you know, do you mind, we're trying to learn about, if you're a candidate for an energy efficiency upgrade, will you mind sharing with us, you know, what is your water heater, what is your insulation, et cetera? And then just from there, we'll understand the need. We might be better than I realize, but I just have no idea. Would you guys consider something like that? I mean, if not for us, and I think all your customers might be interested in something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, we ride a line of not wanting to solicit to a degree or feel solicitory. But I mean, we definitely want people to be aware, and we want that to be, you know, we wouldn't want to impose to also to a degree. It is your members. So we, you know, we're happy to be directed and you know, help assist in any outreach you know, that you would want us to.
Okay, and the last question I had was, so I read a story recently that like white roofs for commercial properties, industrial, really can affect their cooling bills in the summer. Do you guys do anything like that? Have you explored that as another energy efficiency measure for these bigger buildings who have these flat roofs and could reduce their cooling costs in the summer?
Commercial ductless heat pumps have been a pretty popular measure recently, but it really depends on the building layout. Commercial HVAC, it can be a challenging program to find uptick for, just because oftentimes you run into a situation. I guess, is that what we were talking about? Sorry if I didn't understand.
I'm talking about changing the color of the roofs. Have you seen stories on how people change from like a dark gray or a black roof to a
Oh,
white
okay.
roof. And then boom, they reduce their energy bills in the summer dramatically because of the cooling effect of a white roof.
That could be something that we could present to Bonneville as a potential custom project, but I don't know. You know, we facilitate the programs that they allow, and they would
Right.
reimburse.
Sure.
So
If you look under the commercial online application, you can see the different kind of categories.
Yeah, I know.
Roofing isn't really in there, but I think it's a good question to ask EPA, and, you know, it sounds like Brandon might be open to pursuing that to see if it'd be a custom project that they might be willing to support. Tiffany?
I will say that I took, years ago, we put in new windows, and we have 9 windows on our house, and between that and the Oregon tax credit, we ended up paying like under $700 for 9 windows, so it's really, yeah.
How did you find out about that?
I just think I knew, I think it
It's on
was
the website.
probably the newsletter, and yeah.
Do we have any sort of a one-page, like, info sheet that we could give to people that are coming in to pull permits for?
We always tell them about go to the webpage and see what they can do. Because it's right there, there's a quick link to energy services, and here's all the programs that they do.
So we direct them to the website, but we don't have a printed handout that we can give them. So I understand.
Well, like newsletter.
Yeah.
But
We could provide, if you wanted us to, we could provide the rebate chart in a PDF, and you could print it out and if you wanted that, because that kind of gives overall in the rebates.
In the May newsletter.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Thanks, Deb. Send it to me.
Okay, we'll do.
We got a lot on our agenda. Does anybody have anything else for these guys before we keep moving on? Okay, thank you so much, both of you, for the presentation. We appreciate it. And gonna move on now to 7B, department reports.
Let them say their.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie, Brandon.
There you go. I'm out so quick. All right. Department reports, we have none. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
7C committee reports.
Just the tourism committee in your packet.
And any discussion about tourism? You had a chance to look at that?
They're moving right along.
Okay. All right, go on to 7D, electric rate discussion.
There was an electric rate discussion scheduled for the beginning of January, which didn't take place. The mayor asked me to put together, here's where we are with our electric rates, here's where the potential is the rates will be increasing. We know with the judge's orders on the Columbia operation of the Columbia power system, BPA has indicated that costs are going to go up 6%, probably January 1st. That's not firm yet, but is pretty close to firm. We've already signed a contract in October, raising our high water mark from 2.68 to 5, which is good.
But that doesn't take effect till
28.
Beginning 2029.
Beginning of 28 rates, but you see when they first bill in January 29. But what I tried to do with this report is to show you that yes, we have tier 1 rate, tier 2 rates, but when you add all of the other costs that we assess to the large users, the difference in what they pay per kilowatt hour is not that much different than what citizens pay for their kilowatt per hour. You go to that table on the 3rd page. You'll see we have one industrial user, he has 2 meters. We charge them based on their kilowatts, tier 1 or tier 2 rates are $186,000. but their total payments was 56% of everything that was collected for the month. They paid 56% while using 65% of the power for the month of January. Now, January it's always a cold month, so we use a lot of power, but they use 65% of the city's power and they paid 56% of the total bill. But if you look down at the bottom of the residential user, they're paying 8.9 cents per kilowatt hour, which is just about 1.5 cents more than what the industrial user is per kilowatt hour. So what I'm trying to suggest to you is citizens are paying a little bit more than they probably should be, but I don't have enough expertise to tell you how to fix the rates so that you can balance it. And with, the rates are gonna increase, the high water mark's gonna increase. Now's the time to, if you want, hire an electrical engineer to do a rate review study and to project what your costs and rates should be, like we did in the last study that you had that was included in the packet over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And with the goal to balance it a little bit better, so the residents are getting the benefit of the tier 2 or tier 1 rates, while the large users are paying for what they use. Does that make sense?
I think that it's an overall discussion that I think that's being had across the country about whether or not we want to charge more. If it's fair to charge less for high user electric users. And is this on this chart, is that monthly? Is this monthly?
That is just for 1 month.
Okay, so the question, I think the overall question we have to ask ourselves is, what's the potential that we could lose 300,000 if the power rate goes up too much? Because we all probably know what the number one there is. There was struggles, there was frustrations the last time we were raising the rates, and they were one of the more outspoken companies because they pretty newly into our infrastructure, and so that there was a lot of this hot debate, especially about it was on the deposits, keeping so much because we had one flaky customer. So I would think that the overall question that we would need to ask is, what's the potential of losing that $300,000 a month if we raise the rates?
And that's a great point, but you also have to understand the rates are going to go up.
Yeah.
If you're gonna balance it a little bit, now's the time to figure out how to do that.
But my thing is, I think the discussion is more than that. I think it's
Yeah.
more than the overall across the country conversation is more than that. They should be paying equal to or more than what the citizens are paying. So overall, I think that's a discussion that we need to have within this discussion, because personally, I don't want to see us lose $300,000 a month. That's steady income that we're getting. And, I don't know how much fiddling we can do with it to balance it out and still keep that paying customer around. That's my question. And let Courtney know, and then I got some more.
Hi, Courtney.
Are you able to understand this previous rate study well enough to explain where, at what point in the equation did we allow something like a customer to use 50, sorry, I'm awful at remembering numbers, to use such a large quantity of our power and pay such a small percentage? Do you know where that?
I'm sure it's in your large power rates. I don't know. I don't know how long the company's been in place, but these rates were established in 2020 and 3/21. I think that's what the date was.
So did we not act on the rate study from 23?
You did it in 2021, 2023, and 2025, where the rates increases every 2 years. But I don't know that this rate study could project that company coming in and doing that.
Okay.
And the theory is, they're using on power, they're using off-peak power, they're a large volume customer, they ought to get a break, which is what that rate says.
Courtney, you got anything else that answer your questions?
Good for now, I'm sure.
Okay, Tom, go ahead.
As I recall, I think what happened to us, I'm assuming that's, what's here, whether it is or not, I don't know, I'm just assuming that. Is that because when we changed things out, we went, as we had a big rate or a big customer, we changed the criteria of what everybody was, and we added industrial. And industrial was you pay just barely a little bit more than what you're being charged by Bonneville, so we're getting very little kilowatt. But we had a demand charge, like $6 a kilowatt, so they made the big money to them was in the demand charge, not into the kilowatt charge, whereas a residential, you're not being charged a demand charge, you're being charged kilowatts, you're paying on all the kilowatts. You're paying 6, 7, 8 cents you're at per kilowatt, whereas the industrial ones were getting a little over, at that time, a little over 3 cents, because we were maybe 4 or 5 cents again,
Yeah.
but way below us. But what we were making our money at was in the demand charge, because what happens with everybody else is you first turn everything on, everything comes up big, but then once it's on, everything backs off. And so you have a demand that eases off, whereas some of the big industrial ones they have, once they turn it on, they leave it on, it never comes off, so the demand's always there. So that puts a load on your substations that never go away, where when the town comes on, it all comes on in the morning, or it goes off, then it backs off and it eases up on the substation. But the big ones, so it's the demand charge, so you may see a ton of that money comes from the demand charge, not the kilowatt charge. And when we first started this thing, we went from tier 1 to tier 2. And I don't know how many years ago that was, but it had to be at least 10 years ago or more, probably more than that. Yeah, we were there.
It was off.
And at that time, of course, tier 1 was Bonneville. Tier 2 was out in the marketplace. And they said at that time, the marketplace was gonna be 2 to 3 or 4 times the amount of what tier 1 was. But what turned out is they did the oil shale and we found all this natural gas. So we had overabundance of natural gas. They put that into power, and tier 2 was actually cheaper than tier 1.
Yeah.
But now we've changed and we got all these, we're sending all our natural gas overseas and liquefied. So now we don't have absorbed amount, we're selling it everywhere else, and whatever we're selling there. So now what's gone up to 2 or 3 times what tier 1 is.
Twice.
Well, in the world, and the things that are going on right now
Make it
is,
worse.
yeah, what's going on in the world right now is natural gas, which is gonna be our tier 2, is going to explode. So it's gonna be, whatever they're saying here, the BPA comes up, BPA and what they're doing on the tier 2 side. So anything that we add now, that is tier 2, and we're already into tier 2 with a certain amount of people, it's not gonna stop, there's gonna be a period here where it's gonna explode even more.
And I guess, Tom, if I could summarize what you're saying, costs are gonna go up for everybody.
Yeah.
Period. And we just have the opportunity to structure it a little differently.
People are seeing that right now with the big data, with AI.
Yes.
AI, and everybody's ticked off because AI is charging us for them to be able to get the power they need. So everybody's irritated with that, but that's gonna affect us too, though. I mean, we have our own little company here, but when we go out after that tier 2 power, they're going after it too. And they want us to help pay for that, but yeah, it's gonna go up.
Bernard, let me get, the mayor, and then I'll get to you, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Thank you, guys. My big thing is that nobody should pay less than what we're paying for power. You know, we have neglected our electrical system and we need to make some major improvements. We need poles to be replaced. We need to do some undergrounding. We have all kinds of things that we need to do. So not only should we be charging at least what we're paying for electric, but we got to maintain our stuff. So that's my big thing. So down the road, when we probably will have to increase our rates according to what the BPA is saying, I would pose that we bring everybody up to where, and that includes industrial, where they're paying at least what we're paying for it, because they're not even paying what we're paying for it. So that's just my 2 cents in on it.
Thank you, Mayor. Bernard.
Okay, so the first thing I wanna say is, I wholeheartedly endorse doing what I call a COSA update. Because we just had a COSA done in 23, is that right, when that was a study was done?
Yeah.
So that's not long ago, usually you do COSA like every 5-10 years.
21, but that's.
No, we did
It's
it
just
more recently.
It was just recently, yeah.
Okay, so in my mind, ideally, maybe you hire the same contractor who did that COSA in 23 and say, we need you to update for some new data and information that's influencing our rate system.
Right.
The first one being the 6% increase as a result of that judicial ruling,
Right.
that I understand is not captured in our rates, right?
No.
Okay, so either we need to do a rate adjustment to capture that 6%, or we're eating that.
That's.
I don't know if we have the luxury to eat that, or need to look at the numbers and know that, but first thing, I wanna know that analysis, and they could do that for us. The second thing is, I agree, this is a nuanced conversation, it is bigger than just, it's about a fairness piece, right? But and I wanna ask the city administrator, so until Oregon Mining showed up, and I'm not sure if there's another industrial customer, much of our power was below that high water mark, and then they show up, and now we're consuming a lot of tier 2 power. And just to review, the way our power system works, we buy it from Bonneville for about 3.5 cents, but we sell it to customers now for 8 cents. Cause so we need 5 cents to run the utilities, save for capital, do all those things. And right now, we're buying 7 cents of that tier 2 is 7 cents, and we're selling to the industrial for like 7.5 cents. So they're not paying that 5% delta that all the residentials are paying when you transition from tier 1 to tier 2. And again, that's why we need an expert to say, okay, how do you treat industrial customers fairly, knowing that they're pushing us above our high water mark and causing us to take on expensive power to meet their needs? And because, part of me says, yes, they're a $300,000 customer, but we have $300,000 of new costs. We're buying higher power, selling them almost at cost. So if they disappear, it's not like we lose 300,000, but we're not spending 300,000. I think that's what the analysis would show. So part of me says, we should get something. We should sell them power, and then they should contribute to the system beyond at cost power, right? So that I just want to say that, and then just a specific question. So, and this is one I thought you might have. So if you look at that chart, it shows. Let me go to the chart here.
Which
The January
Hold on.
electric rate comparison.
Let's see.
Is it in the report, or is it the one that you?
This is gonna be, let me find a second here. So you gave us a resolution, is there something below that? Okay, yeah, cost of service, this is in the COSA that, those guys did, okay. So this is page 2,
All right,
not in the PDF file, but on the actual document.
yeah.
It says projected Bonneville power costs, see that? Okay, so it shows 21-22, our tier 2 power at $34.39 a megawatt hour. But then it goes from 23-24, it's projected to go to 63. So how are we getting tier 2 power? Is that because of the natural gas glut? Do you understand why it did that?
Yes, I think that's correct.
Okay, all right, that wasn't clear to me. And then, okay, all right. But right now, do you know, what is current tier 2 power selling at?
7 cents, 7.066 cents.
So $70 a megawatt hour.
$70.
Yeah, so above even this number.
Yes.
Yeah, from,
But it's also 3 years removed from that number.
I understand, okay. Okay, well, look, my 2 cents is I hope, I would request that council be supportive of doing a COSA update to get some more information, all of these we've talked about, but also do an analysis on how the 6% increase from Bonneville is gonna affect our budget, moving forward. When does that go into effect?
January 1st.
Okay, so
Well,
it's right around the corner.
It's not definitive, and Bonneville has the history of changing their minds generally upward between now and then, but right now it's projected to be 6%. It's down from 7.5%, which was their initial projection.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's where I'm at.
I just heard something in the news this week about low water on Lake Powell and Lake
Yes.
Mead. And they're talking to dead pools, actually below the turbines, and they actually won't be able to produce electricity as the risk. It's a real issue. It's not just the Columbia, it's all over.
But just to that note, the Columbia's watershed is fed more out of British Columbia, Idaho, Washington, the upper Idaho area. And that is running above, the snowpack is running above normal.
BC actually had a decent winter.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's positive.
We're lucky to have
So
that.
we're gonna be okay
Very lucky.
this year.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other note to make is in 2 years, 3 years, in 2029, when our high water mark goes from 2.65 to 5, that will lower our costs, but what that gives us the opportunity to do is to keep that margin or raise that margin a little bit so that we can have the funds to do all the rest of the work. And that's gotta be included in the COSA stuff.
Agreed.
And I do think that when we did that coast before, we didn't have the rates for 2028, 2029
Right.
at that point. So I think it's, to your point, I think it's a really good time to try to balance the temporary 6% increase with the potential savings we're gonna see in 2029.
All that, yeah.
I see some more hands here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so again, on a big power user, they pay close to what Bonneville charges.
Wholesale.
Because the big money is in demand charge, not in that. So that $300,000 isn't in the kilowatt price, because we don't charge more than anything. The money is in the demand charge. So it's
That's
not.
how you structure it, but
Yeah, it's structured for you get in the demand charge, not if you bump up the kilowatt on them and have the demand charge, then you are running them off. I mean, but again, I think that you need to look at, when we're looking at it, because I think we need to look at it, is have them look into what would it do to be fair? How compare them or what we do for them into other like users. So that we can at least say, hey, we're not doing anything more to you than Wasco does, or Clickitat does, or whoever. This is the industry standard, and
we're still the cheapest power.
yeah, we are. We're right in there, yeah. People keep saying we're real hot, you go and look at Hood River or
It's a
Skamania.
bright spot.
The
Our
cheapest one,
customers should be,
But that's one of the things I got at the COSA too, and the same thing when we did our water rate study was that, and I appreciate the discussion we had around that efficiency discussion and being competitive with, our neighbors, and I think, we that was something we were very mindful of. Bernard, go ahead.
Yeah, well,
I'll get you.
just so I'm reading this right, Gordon, so back on your chart, that the So yes, there is the demand charge of about $70,000 between the two meters,
That's correct.
but everything consolidated, they were paying 7 cents a kilowatt, the consolidated
Right.
amount, okay. So it's still, that's really reasonable power, for their operations. Because the demand, it impacted it, but they're still well under what we're paying, right, as residences. So I just, but I agree with you.
And let's make that argument to them.
We need that relative perspective, and I would like the COSA authors to do some analysis of like, if you're a large industrial customer in Wasco or Skamania PUD or some of our competitors, what are they paying? And let's stay competitive, and then we won't lose these guys. Okay.
Tiffany?
Well, and then also I'd like to, with that, because we ended up having to pay a $20-some thousand bill because of the water level, the water levels were lower, and we got that bill from Bonneville, that all the cities got.
All the utilities there.
Well, yeah, all the electric companies got, is that built into, is that okay, so that should be something
Because
that we
you
should.
can't, how do you project?
How do you protect that, but at the same time, you don't wanna be caught with your pants down, literally, because it did happen,
That's true, but again, that's based on weather.
Yeah,
You
agreed.
just, so there's a miscellaneous cost in the overhead.
That takes care of that, yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a peanut butter spread of like looking at a 10 or 20-year average of.
Peter Burns, but just.
Absolutely.
So I do have some, some questions on, the report assumed a 5% growth in the industrial load. Do we know if we've met that 5%? Because I think we anticipated something industrial going into the industrial park, and I'm not sure that that's come to fruition.
I think that's,
I
well,
think we've seen it, right?
we haven't seen anything, but the second user has increased
Yes.
the use, but it's not 5%.
It's not 5%, it's bottom of page 1. And to echo what the mayor said, in page 2, it says in general, Cascade Locks needs to invest more into its system and capabilities. So, that's it's right here in our report. I do have some questions on the public agency. Why? So on the chart on page 6 of the report, am I correct in assuming that they're only paying 59% of, why are they so much below cost? It seems like if anybody should be really looked at, it should be, and who would that be? Would that be like?
Schools, courts, government, the feds, justice court, the state.
So why don't they have to pay their 100%? Why, if we're gonna be talking about our high users, why are we?
But again, that's one of the fairness issues that we have that needs to be addressed.
Agreed. And then on, because it's on page 7 too, again, 59%. And then what about, and then the fairness issue again goes with South Bank. We know that South Bank is not a moneymaker for us. It costs us more to provide the electricity than we charge, or it's right.
It's pretty close.
Close, yeah.
It's closer, well, 3 years ago, it was closer than it had ever been. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, so that would be, when we have this discussion, I hope that all of it, not just the high users, it's the low users, and then it's South Bank, it's its own complete, unique, I don't know, what do you wanna call it?
Customer base.
The power costs are the same, but the transmission costs are increased, so you have to be careful what cover the transmission costs.
Right,
And the maintenance.
and then South Bank for public agency, so they so what would be considered a public agency in South Bank?
Eden Creek Fish Hatchery.
Multnomah Falls.
Would that be a public? Okay,
Well, the Falls.
Oh, that's a private contract, isn't it?
Yeah. But the
Hatchery.
fish hatchery.
fish hatchery.
There's also a state park out there, Ainsworth State Park.
Yeah, and if we sold power to the dam, we don't. That's,
So am I reading this right when I'm looking at the January 2026 usage chart that you have here? And we look at the system total. We've got under total, I guess like the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth column, $552,066.07. That's total what we billed.
that is the total revenue.
That's revenue or what we billed? Revenue. So
That's what was paid.
that's, yeah, so that's what we billed, that's what was paid. Our cost was $239,056.
That's correct.
I just want to point that out. We talked about this infrastructure.
I'm sorry, which page were you on?
I'm talking about the January,
First one, oh, yeah.
just how much revenue, this actually generates for the city.
Right.
And this infrastructure is so vitally important, it's,
Right.
200 and, it's almost $300,000 in revenue.
If you didn't have the power company, we would struggle mightily.
So to the mayor's point about investing in their infrastructure,
asset.
supporting the maintenance, upkeep and taking care of it.
Right.
Is absolutely vitally important. So I just wanted to kind of highlight those numbers because that was one of the things I noticed. Any other discussion on this? And I guess, what do we need to do as far as giving you some direction? It sounds like COSA was kind of what I heard.
COSA update.
COSA
Shouldn't be
update.
a full COSA, it should be
Do we
like,
need to put this out for
Take the
RFP or
study.
can we use the company that we used before?
Well, I asked the Oregon Municipal Electric Utilities who they would use for a rate study, and I only got one response back, and it was not this company. I'll have to see if this company is still around and if they're willing to come in and use this as a basis to review it. Since we haven't worked with them before, we can do a direct usage, direct contract.
Go ahead, Tom.
So, when we do our rates, because things have changed, because when we were there, it was, tier 2 was less than the BPA now, obviously tier 2 is way up there. Do we, when we figure our rates, are we blending the two, or can we say something where a new customer comes in, you're getting to tier 2? We don't,
No,
you don't get the,
you just get
you
the
don't get
power. You just get the power. And then when you go past your high water mark, then every kilowatt by that, after that costs more.
But the rate that we're setting up, is that rate a blend between tier 1 and tier 2? Everything comes in as one, and we have the tier 1 cost to us from EPA, and we have a tier 2 cost. We take those two together, and then that becomes the rate for everybody. Is that how that goes?
It's more additive than average. It's a great, it's just, when you get past your high water mark, your first half of the month, you're paying it for lower power, and then the last half of the month, you pay for the higher power, but you only get one bill at the end of the month. So
The city does.
yeah.
So first they run you out of your tier 1, and then you get. So there is gonna be a blend between the two. My question is as people come in and as the big user, should we not just say, hey, you're paying tier 2? I mean, you've come on, all of our tier 1s being used by our customers who've been here during that time. As you come in, you're coming in and you're gonna pay the tier 2 rate, not the tier. You're not gonna get a blend of this thing, you're gonna get the tier 2 rate. So it's just a question.
I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I would struggle with figuring out how to do that, and maybe the COSA guys can, but then you're discouraging new business coming in, because you're gonna charge them a higher rate. They're coming in because they're looking at the rates that exist now, or whatever it is.
That was
But you're
definitely
also-
something we talked about though when we did the COSA, was that we didn't wanna, we wanna be business friendly, but we didn't wanna have a bunch of high power users coming in that then results in our residential customers having to pay an exorbitant amount. That these, in commercial,
But
businesses are coming in and capitalizing on our low power rates and making money, and the
But
people
that's
that are
what-
paying for it are the residential users.
But that's what the demand charge does. That's how, the high power users pay something above and beyond what they pay for the rate, and that's what keeps the residential rates in line.
Okay,
And
can I
we're
ask
not-
a question on that, to me on charge?
Sure.
That's only if they turn on all of their equipment
It
at,
is the highest power draw during any 15-minute period in the month. So we track every 15-minute period, and we go back and we look, what was the highest draw, and that's times the demand charge.
I see,
So if they turn on just once a month,
okay, so
they still get the high demand charge.
okay, thank you,
Bernard,
Okay, but two things.
good question. Thanks for that clarification on that, yeah.
thank you.
But to be clear, is it true to say that demand charge is being passed on from Bonneville? Bonneville, when our demand spikes, they say, hey, we're charging you more for that power. Is that true?
No,
It's not?
no, we charge the customer more for that power. Bonneville says, this is your first, however many, when you get to your high water mark, that's what you pay the 3 cents per gallon, per kilowatt. If you're above that, whenever you're pulling that power, if you're above that 2.68 watermark, high watermark, then your power costs more. So it's whatever power is delivered to us. When you go above that rate, that's when you.
So it's internal to us. Bonneville does not have a demand charge that they impose on wholesale customers. I thought they did.
There are 17 different charges on the BPA.
I know it's a complex bill.
And it's
Scary.
ridiculous trying to understand.
Yeah, all right.
That's,
But my next question is, to what Mr. Crammell was saying, look, I get the concept, like, new demand, you fall in the tier 2 category, why are you pushing your demand driving up cost for everybody else? I get that concept. But it's not hard to envision a place where, like, two neighbors, one guy just moved into town, one guy's been there for 10 years, they open up the utility bill, how much do you use? I use 600 kilowatts, how much do you use? Why is my bill so much more expensive? I think they would freak out if we did that. I'm not sure that would go over well.
I'm not sure how you would structure it either.
Yeah. And then just one real quick question on the COSA. So that, if we do this, redo the COSA, is that going to, include the rate increase of the new contract? Is that?
Yes,
is that's the idea?
We need them to look all the way out for
Okay.
5 or 6
Including,
years.
okay.
That was what,
Yeah.
that was our idea, was trying to figure out how do we balance the savings we're gonna recognize in 2029.
Yeah, because I don't wanna
with
come
the
back in 2
increase.
years and have to do another COSA because it sounds
Well,
like it's a good industry in its own.
The only thing I can tell you is, and as the mayor alluded to, or as he alluded to earlier, if the cost of gas goes up, hey, we pass along any BPA rate increase, we have that authority to do that. We have to survive. Okay, I will,
I was gonna just say one other thing here too, because we're part of an organization, we're still part of that organization.
yes.
That lobbies for us, a big organization for all the small little power companies. So the big boys would like us to pay out a lot more. So the little guys are all jumped in together, and we're part of that organization, so, and I've seen it, if you look historically at rates, you'll see them go up and go down. So they've also gone down. So they can say we're gonna put 6% on you, but we got people fighting for us that are trying to beat that 6%.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes you don't get the 6%, but again, we do have somebody fighting for us to try to keep things within reason.
We're still.
But we are in a world now that it's gonna be difficult to make that fight.
So, to Tom's point, I think for Art's question, we belong to the Oregon Municipal Electric Utilities, which is 11 utilities, plus Springfield, or Eugene kind of comes in there with us a little bit, but we're also part of the Public Power Council,
Right,
which is.
and NRU, right, Northwest Requirements Utilities, they do amazing, when I was there, they were doing incredible work, and exactly what Tom was talking about. Okay, yeah.
All right, any other discussion on that, or are we ready to, you've got the direction?
I've got the direction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Now moving on to 7E, food and beverage tax discussion.
Again, this is another thing that was asked to look at, and there's some things to understand. Fire and EMS departments are not self-funding. You could raise your rates for your EMS, but because the federal government only repays you at 55 cents on the dollar, they're never gonna make money on this. EMS services. Fire is supported strictly by property taxes. That's the nature of fire. You can get a fire district, a fire EMS district, and what that does is lowers or increases the property taxes our customers, our clients, our citizens pay in order to fund the fire district. So unless you have more accidents on the freeway where insurance companies pay 100%, but you can't count on that. And that's, you really don't want to count on that. You know,
Yes.
it's not a way to get the money. So, in Cascade Lock, 65% of the call volume is from non-residents. So, looking at that, the local restaurants estimate that 90% of their customers are not local. So if you look at the $1 million budget that the fire department has right now, 42% of the sheriff property taxes, which in this in the budget now is 162,000, represents 16% of their budget. Service fees, 15% of the budget. Multnomah County contracts, 4%. We got a state fire marshal grant, which will probably not be repeated, but it's 3.5%. The support fees that we get from our utility billing is 11.5%. General fund supports 49% of the current budget, and 1% is miscellaneous charges. So if you look at that and you add up what are our residents paying, they're paying 76.5% of the total operating budget of the fire department right now in this year's budget. Eco Northwest is a stellar institution, and they projected $5.2 million in restaurant sales. That was without Ixtapa.
Oh, okay.
But in my discussions with the restaurant owners, they will far exceed that 5 million. But be conservative, use that $5 million. All of the 4 other cities that do a food and beverage tax are 5%. I don't think we should be an outlier at 7%. I think we should do the 5%. And if you want more than that, grow the restaurant business. That gets you more money. And grow your tourist season so it's longer. And that gets you the more money from doing that. So if, assuming that 5% food and beverage tax is assessed, $250,000 a year basically, and that goes into the fire department budget, and you take that $250,000 and you keep that portion in the general fund, what happens is that lowers the costs to the citizens. Instead of 76%, they're only paying 53% of the cost of the fire department. Again, through property taxes, through the fees that they pay if they use the services.
Their utility bill.
Utility bill, things. So I guess what I'm encouraging you to do is let's make that case to the citizens that we can help lower their costs when they use the fire department and the EMS by putting in a 5% beverage tax. Food, excuse me, not beverage, food and prepared.
Prepared food.
Yes, PVFD, whatever. PFD. And we would all benefit. And then what that allows us to do is to keep the money in the general fund. And as you've gone through the audit, you'll notice some of the problems that the auditor has identified. It's because we've cut staff. We don't have enough staff to do the separation of duties that's required in order to get a clean opinion. We can address that situation if there's money there. But the other thing that I would point out is don't count on any of this money until you prove the revenue stream. Don't put it in the budget until it's proven that you've seen that money come in. When the money comes in, you can put a line item in there so that it's in the budget. You can see where it is, and you put it right into the fire department. But you don't project and then be short. So once you prove the revenue stream, then you can come back and you can do those things you can do in the general fund to address the audit findings. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, if that's the case, then at the next meeting, we can adopt the resolution, we can adopt the ordinance pending the election in November. The other thing to understand is just, this is just an aside. If this would have been on the primary ballot and you didn't get 50% of the voters to approve it, to even vote for it, yay or nay, it would have been defeated because of ballot measure or the 50-50 rule that's in our charter. So it's good to be there for the November election. If it passes, we can get it in place, we can get the certificates out of, with all of the businesses by middle of December, and they start their collections January 1st, 2027, have their first payments April 16th. You can see what it's like on a slow season, you can see that, but you have that next several months to prove the revenue stream before you put it in the budget for 27, 28. If it passes. But it makes sense to pass because you're relieving some of the burden for the operation of the fire department.
For the voters.
It's
For voters who are benefit, that's right.
Can I ask a question on that point though? I mean, does it, I mean, because they're still gonna be paying the same amount of property taxes. How does?
It puts us back in a more, a position of being compliant with generally acceptable general government accounting practices.
So the money that we're paying on our property taxes is going to support city operations, but we're not subsidizing EMS services for non-residents.
Understood, but when you say, but understand as a citizen, you're saying that it's gonna save them money, it's not gonna change anything really, honestly, except for it's going to help
We're just
them,
not paying.
it's gonna help their emergency services do the things, more of the things that they need to do that can't be done.
And it's gonna help the city do more of the things that they need.
Also, but it's not really gonna save the citizens money. Okay.
Quick question on, I'll keep going here around the room. So you got our $1,014,000 budget here, and I'm guessing these totals are the same amount.
That's right.
One of the things that we heard during the town hall from our fire staff, our chief and some of the staff that presented, was that we have a lot of aging equipment and,
So
turnouts, hoses, do we, is this enough?
again, that's just what this was this budget year. We are still building our budget for this next year, but we have to do better. We have to be more efficient with the dollars that we have and to be wiser with the dollars that we have. I don't know what that looks like yet because we're just getting into it. Again, but health insurance is going up, hers is going up, everything's going up, so we're gonna have to be really
Efficient.
yeah, effective and efficient. That's what government is supposed to be. That does not mean that if we have that $250,000 into the general fund and they need $50,000 to do some equipment, maybe we can do $50,000 a year into their reserve account and pull that out judiciously or get their equipment. So it's the future budgets that are gonna be impacted by this thing to help.
Thank you. I think that, we all wanna have a healthy fire and EMS department, and I think we're all on board with that. I personally think that the 5% is gonna be an easier sale than the 7%, especially when you look at the comparison of the other cities in Oregon that have this. And it's one of the things we heard from some of the business owners, they thought 7% was way too much.
Yeah.
But that was my concern, was if we're basing it off of our prior budget and we heard that the prior budget wasn't adequate, what was the response to that? So thank
But I
you.
didn't know, I didn't have any of the facts, I looked at the current budget.
Got it, thank you. I don't know who had their hand up.
Oh, go
first.
ahead.
I think these guys did.
Just go around.
Okay,
I'll go with them.
go ahead, we'll just go in the circle. here.
Oh, okay. So that's my question. I'm sure that the fire department and EMS in passing is saying, I have the feeling that, this is gonna be a bunch coming on into them. when, as I look at it here, realistically, it isn't. All it is you're gonna have the same budget, that we're giving you right now, 497,000. Now we're gonna give you 200,000,
And in fact, we're not even gonna give you that much.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna keep you at the level you're at now
Yes.
and see what we're growing into. And then we're gonna make sure that you use the money wisely. So it's not a windfall. It is a cohesive, intelligent look at the future.
I would guarantee that they believe that all these things that they need is gonna help them get, when it's the same thing. So my worry or citizens' worries, from what I would assume is not only the issue, the potential, the fire department maybe not doing the right thing, but the city management not doing the right thing. So if you don't manage your end, that you're getting back properly, that doesn't give them and they're managing well, but you spent the whole darn thing on,
Absolutely.
then, so you got two things you gotta trust are doing the right thing, and that's,
In fact,
that's up to us.
council.
Yes, it's up to us.
It's all on you.
That's right, and I would agree, so I think people have to remember that with this thing happening, there is two things have got to run their operations properly. The fire department is not gonna get a windfall here.
That's correct.
And city council cannot, city management cannot just flirt away that money that they were giving to them, but now they're taking it back. Because I think when we first came in, I think when all we were giving them was the 42%, that's all they were getting.
Yeah.
And now they're getting $400,000 over that 42%, because we've grown it. But I do believe the citizens, personally, they've done great things. I appreciate what they've done in our community, on the freeway, the whole thing. But,
You're absolutely right.
but again, everybody has both those, the city and it's not even a windfall for them. They're still gonna have to
We have
run a tight ship.
We have that responsibility.
Yeah. And I agree with you that
Manage.
it would only be, because they are gonna need more. I guarantee it, they're gonna need more. So hopefully the city manages their end of it well enough that when they do need more, you're able to give that, you're able to pass some of that along to them.
That's right.
I think basically the discussion is gonna be, do we want EMS or don't we want EMS? And this is an answer to make that, this is a way to make that answer be yes, because, we're just, the city's struggling. And like you said, it's not a money-making industry, but it's a luxury to have an EMS department, it really is, and it's really something we need. And, this will make it so that we can keep it here. Now, I asked a couple of questions, like, can we make this exempt for citizens? Did you have that discussion with the attorney?
Exempt for citizens?
Yeah, that citizens would have to do, yeah. But we had an answer with somebody who was not really working for us, but working for their own interest.
Yeah, it would be very difficult then.
Okay, and so then also the March through October would be,
The city attorney said no.
okay, and then, and I noticed that is there no longer an auditing?
The audit is there, but
Just that will.
yes. The problem with doing the auditing is it's gonna cost you $5,000 if you can find somebody to do the audit.
Which was a big,
Yes,
that's
so.
a hangnail of the
so-
whole situation as well.
I think personally, I think that the business owners here, they'll be happy to assess it and they'll be happy to forward it to the city because they want the emergency services and if we have, something that's suspect or thinking that they're not paying somebody that's cheating the rest of us, I think the other business owners are gonna be very aware and they're gonna, we can kind of identify what they are. And if we need to do an audit, then we'll do an audit.
Kathy's got her hand
I was
over
gonna
here.
say, after our last town hall, Dave Libbs had called in and he had an excellent idea. I don't remember now what it was, but I have it in the
I
file.
remember,
But it was.
What was it, Bernard? Did you
And
say?
it was, it's the way I believe we should go about it.
right, so,
Fair
What-
for the city and for the business.
right, what Dave proposed that we do audits. Once a year, one business will be picked at random, and the cost will be split between the city and the business. And that way, if the city's paying for it, they're just gonna drag their feet and never get the darn audit done. But if they have skin in the game, then they're gonna wanna get it done and get it over with. And, you know, I'm kinda going to my comments, but I'm very much for the audit because when I was here, we had, some TRT operators we thought weren't paying their TRT, and we got an audit, and then we started getting the ground truth. And I've experienced that, not only here, but Gresham and other cities that work for, you need an audit, because there will businesses who will take advantage of the city and not pay what they're supposed to. And you'll never know until you have a formal audit that's randomly selected, and you have, and again, third party, not the city. Third party goes in and does the analysis and makes sure that they're being fair to the system. And like I said, if you're a business, you want that because you don't want anybody
Level
cheating
playing
on you,
field.
right? A level playing field. Okay, so
we're
that's-
going around the room.
That's what Dave was saying, but I have some other things, but.
Okay, so I need to, I have found some things in the ordinance, I don't know if we wanna do that,
Jim can come into the office.
okay, because like, yeah, cause there's like some places where caterer and single events aren't in there, and, you know, well, they, on the temporary, are they gonna be held to the quarterly too, or are they gonna have to pay? What they need to reach,
So that the temporary events,
yeah,
that's something I don't know how you do.
yeah, I don't.
And so that's gonna be a very, very small portion of whatever we collect. It's almost not worth it. Does that make sense? You know,
Because
As
we.
far as the teeth of it.
what we would collect and the problems we would have if, you know, only on one event. You know.
Because there's a lot of weddings, so too.
Well, I think what he's saying is we'd still ask them to, collect it, we're still expecting them, but we're not necessarily gonna be stressing over trying to chase them down and.
Well,
Well, we don't want that known though.
No,
depends on. Okay, so I have to take a look at the weddings. You know, are they gonna hire a business to do the wedding party? You know, is it a private affair? Is it, it's not? I don't know that that's really part of this. We're looking for the restaurants, businesses, not.
that was one of the concerns that Genevieve brought up from the port, was all of their vendors that they have to come out for all these weddings, and making sure that they're all aware of,
Yeah.
the tax, and how to calculate it, and how to collect it, and how to pay it.
That's a good point, but again, if it's relatively simple, I mean, if they're selling alcohol, they're already putting a tax, it's already in their billing system. Now it's just for the food portion.
Yeah,
Do you have anything else?
I just some things that need cleaned up in the ordinance.
Courtney, any thoughts?
Not on this one.
Bernard?
Okay, so. First thing, at our town hall, I think I mentioned this in one of the council discussions at the end of the meeting. There were several questions asked that we didn't really have a good answer to. Chief Logan was just throwing at the last minute, he did that. I really, for our public, I want them to know, look, we heard your questions, we've researched them, and here's your answer, all those questions that we didn't answer in the town hall. I don't know if you can track down Chief Logan, he's got those questions,
I have them.
or we put them on Butcher Block, right? Okay.
We have.
And I-
So that's my request to staff, that we answer those, and we share that with the public to say, those were great questions, and here's our thoughts and response based on our research and analysis.
We put them on butcher paper, not on butcher block.
paper. Cut their poor little, okay.
Anything else, Bernard?
Yes, so I'm glad, well, I mean, I wanna hear from the mayor, but I'm comfortable at 5% versus 7. I know at one time she was advocating for 7. I'm open to 7, but I feel more comfortable at 5, just putting that out there. And in our town hall, we were talking 7, we weren't talking 5, just to be clear. Mr. Zimmerman, okay,
But we were getting a lot of
pushback.
We were getting a lot of pushback.
Let's see. And then on the fire funding conversation, and I actually called Chief tonight, because when I looked at the budget, it's like, wait a second, this budget just reduced this city contribution. It doesn't increase the fire department's budget to meet some of these obligations that, in my understanding, are currently unmet. So right now where I'm at, I know this is more of a budget conversation, but if we can get this thing passed, it would be my intention that 497 come down, but not completely be offset by the new revenue from the food and beverage tax. We withhold, in my mind, is somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 that stays with fire, so they can start setting away money for a new fire engine, a new brush engine. They've got capital needs that just frankly are not being met. And they're far from not being met. It's not just a little, it's a lot. So we need to start chipping away at that if we're gonna keep a fire department in good standing. And that's my last point. And I'll always make this, every time we talk about this fee, I will go to my grave saying, I still think we should do some serious analysis about like a Hood River County, not necessarily a fire district, but a fire agency. And we would feed into a Hood River based department. We would be like a substation out of Hood River. And then we consolidate our overhead, HR, all those things. And I think we could reduce cost of service, which at the end of the day, to your original point, we always need to be scrutinizing the way we spend our money. And the truth is, just like it would be very expensive for us to stand up a police department. That's why we contract with sheriff's office. It's very expensive to stand up to operate a fire department. We would be more efficient if we contracted out with a regional service provider. And there's plenty of examples like Gresham, like Wood Village, Fairview, Shadow. They all contract out with the Gresham Fire Department for their fire services. Gresham has a customer. They have that consolidated network, the maintenance, all the things get held in the city of Gresham, and the value on their service is dramatically improved by being a customer versus them operating 4 different fire departments. So I'll always say that. I think it's a worthy conversation. But for now, just for the public, I want to see this thing passed, and I'm going to beat on a lot of doors come fall to convince voters this is a good idea. Thank you.
Mayor, do you have any comments?
I do. I really, at first, when we first started this discussion way back when, we talked at 10%, and then we went down to 7%. And the fact of the matter is that the citizens, whenever we put it on the ballot for the $9 on our bill, we felt like that was the fix. Like, I believe it was presented like if they got this money, they would be good. And I feel like presenting it at 5%, that's not fixing anything. That's just kind of swapping money, you know. We need, our fire engine is outdated. Our emergency plan is very well outdated. I think it's back from 2013, and it should be redone, I think, every 4 years. Don't quote me on that, but I do know it's out of date. Our guys that go respond to calls don't even have rain gear, you know. So it's, I mean, we're buying secondhand hose. All these things. So what I don't want to send to the citizens is a thing that says, okay, if you pass this 5%, then our fire department's going to be good, because I don't think that is truth. I think that's far from the truth. And you know, the audits, I think, are important. And I remember Kathy sharing with me what was proposed from Dave Lips about the audits. And it was a really good idea. So I'm hoping she'll pull that out for us. And when we started on this thing too, it was to give the fire department and EMS a income that they could count on. And I don't think at 5%, I really don't think we're doing any justice. I mean, yeah, it's kind of swapping money. It does the general fund good. But the only way it's really going to help the fire department is if we don't take, we keep giving them that money out of the general fund as well. And they get the 5%. So I'm kind of hesitant on it because I do realize how important fire and EMS is for our community, and that we do expect them when we make that call that they show up. And if you've ever made the call and nobody shows up, you'd realize how important this is. But I also don't want to send it out to the citizens as this is the fix all. And then we have to go back and ask for more money, because the hope in this was that if we did the 5% or the 7%, that we could get rid of the $9 thing, that our citizens would be able to save some money. And this isn't saving them much. I mean, that they're actually going to see. And I don't think it's going to help our fire department. I think it's just going to prolong, because I don't know if it's correct or not. And I don't know that we could actually get the correct answer at this point as far as our numbers go, as far as finances. But the past city administrator told me that we could only operate our EMS department one more year. So I don't know, just food for thought. I'm flexible, but I also am very honest and transparent to the citizens of Cascade Locks that this isn't going to fix it at all, nor would 7%, but 7% would get us a little bit closer. But we have some major problems going on with our fire and EMS. I mean, we have things that we need to get done, or else, and it's not a scare tactic to the citizens. Like, this either needs to pass or you're going to pay more or we won't have this service. Them are our options. And fire chief told me that he talked to Bernard earlier tonight, and he didn't share with me what all he shared. However, I took it as that the fire chief was not too happy about the 5% either. Can you clarify that, Bernard, with me?
So I didn't ask specifically that. Well, actually I did. I said, did you see we're going at 5 instead of 7? And I think he said, I understood that. But what he took issue with was that the budget stayed the same. Like, it just absorbed instead of increasing his budget to meet some of the capital needs that are being unmet. So we didn't debate the 5 versus 7.
I think the question is, there's a better chance that it will pass at 5%, and probably no chance that it would pass at 7%.
Agreed.
So that's really why they came down to the 5%. Now, I didn't talk to him about this because I was just looking at the current budget. We still have the future budgets ahead of us, and we all have our responsibilities to look at all of that. But even if we get this 5%, he's not going to get it until the 27, 28 budget.
Well, and we don't really know what the numbers are. We're basing this on cell phone pings. And I mean, we really don't know what the numbers are, and it may bring in more income than we anticipate, and it may make it so that the numbers will be different, that general fund will give a certain amount that will help, but also give some relief for the general fund as well. I don't know, there's a lot of unknowns, I think, and by the time we even implement, this will be the beginning of next year. I mean, who knows how much things will cost by then. So, I don't know. I always thought, I'm sorry, personally, I always thought 7% was always going to be a hard sell. I mean, that's everybody else has done 5%. And the ones that have done the 5%, from what I've heard, I haven't asked specifically myself, but said that they experience no significant bumps whatsoever. People just, they don't even notice it. So 7% just seems harsher. It just did, but that was the direction we were being kind of cattled into, and not really, we really weren't really given much of a discussion on it. We were just told that that's what we were gonna do, so.
There was a lot of emphasis
And
on that.
I do agree that 5% will probably pass before 7%. There's no argument there. But I also want us to be very clear with the citizens that we may have to come back for more money. We may not. We don't know. So that's where I want to be. I don't want us to sell it as, hey, if you vote for this, then we're going to be good. So that's where I'm coming from. It's not that I'm opposed to it. It's just, I just want to be really transparent about it.
I think that's a very good clarification though, Mayor, and I think that that's something that the residents would appreciate, is that kind of transparency. We don't really know, how much revenue these businesses are collecting, what that 5% is gonna generate until we start actually collecting it. But we do know it's not gonna cover all of it, and we may have to come back for more. Go ahead, Bernard.
So I endorse the mayor's comment, being very transparent with the public about the needs of the fire department, showing what their needs are and where we are, okay? And what the delta is. And that's our burden to bear as a council, as a community, on how we're going to do whatever we can to meet that need and still maintain the trust of the public. If the public rejects it, then they're saying, I don't care about your need, and that's that, right? They have that right. But the mayor just made a very interesting comment that I had never thought of. If we presented this like, we'll make it 7 or 10, but we'll reduce your public safety surcharge fee, that could be a voter get. It's like, oh my God, they're gonna reduce my cost. All I do is raise the food back, the tourists are gonna pay. I could see voters liking that idea. So, I think that's worth considering. We haven't tested that, but I'm intrigued, I must
Is that
say.
the 117,600?
Yeah, exactly. So if you said, I could just do the quick math. If you cut the public safety from $9 to $4.50 as an example, you're basically, instead of 117, now you're getting 55, right?
Right.
What would it take to make up 55 in the food and beverage tax? It's probably not that much.
Yeah.
And that could help sell this. But then the question is, the voters approved $9.
Yes,
Can you reduce it without going back to the voters? I don't know.
yes, I'm sure you can.
We can reduce it, we couldn't raise it, we did discuss that, we could do 7%, and we can always turn it back.
No, I'm talking about the public safety surcharge we
right.
just approved.
I'd have to go back and read the resolution, but I think so.
Okay, so anyway, that's a creative idea in my mind. I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but
Can I?
go ahead.
A couple other things. Our property taxes, base is going up $22 million over the last 2 years. We currently have building permits for 6 more houses, 10 more are coming. So we're growing our tax base. That's positive. Our tourism is getting more active and doing more to attract people to come in here. That's a positive. It all works together to increase the total revenues of the city and allows us to do the how much do you need? Can we help you with that kind of thing? So I'm not sure I'd reduce the utility fee until after the revenue stream is proven, but you could do that. Let's prove the revenue stream first.
My 3 points have always been, we have 3 options. 1, citizens pay more property taxes. 2, we get tourists to pay for it, or 3, we just do without it. So, I mean, those are the 3 options.
You can't raise property taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't do that.
Tom, go ahead.
So we're gonna cover, $250,000 we're talking about for this thing. So my question to you is, yeah, that's what I said.
That's,
So my question to you is, how much of that $250,000 do you need to do the things you wanna do with your staff? How much of that do you need?
Probably 40%, 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah.
So we could, so if you say that you could live with that, then we could give them $150,000 more off of that and just say that's what you gotta, instead of waiting for you to be benevolent to them.
But I don't, again,
Let them, take that $150,000 and put that in to reserve account.
revenue,
Yeah,
new
well, to a
revenue
reserve
for the
account that
fire
we can use towards that.
so, again, I don't know, because what I've envisioned in my mind hasn't been approved by anybody but me. So the council will have that decision at the budget, but again, nothing's gonna happen until you figure out how much you're getting.
Sure.
Period.
So I just did some quick math, and if you take, prepared food and beverage tax, $260,000, and then divide that by 5%, 0.05, that works out to $5.2 million in estimated revenue, right? So 5% of 5.2 million is 260,000. You guys follow me so far?
Right.
Now, if I take 117,600, which is what we get from this EMS support fees, and divide that by 5.2 million, it works out to 2.2%. So to the mayor's point and your point, if we did 7%, we could conceivably get rid of that EMS support fee. What I was gonna propose though is we start with 5%, prove the revenue stream, and then we can take it back to the voters and say, look, let's move it up to 7% and get rid of the EMS fee. That way it's putting the burden on the tourists that are, but I think it'd be easier to get to 7% when we're at 5 and we've already shown the benefit than to maybe get 7% at the very
I
beginning.
agree.
So I just kind of wanted to share kind of my math with you guys as I was working through that.
Yeah.
Bernard.
As a fiscal conservative, I tend to agree with you. We make a small iterative proposal, see if the voters support it, hopefully they do. And then we try to live within the means of that. I mean, it's hard, but that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I like that idea.
Any other discussion before we got a few more things to talk about here.
Not that long, Jim. What are you
Got
talking about?
lots of time. All right, so moving on, interim city.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Okay, what's the
so the question is,
direction?
do we talk about the ordinance that you wanna see?
Yeah, there's some issues.
And then we put it on the April 13th or 12th, whatever the next council meeting is, for adoption of the resolution and to start this process forward. Is that what I'm hearing, or do we wait till the end of April?
No, I think that's what I heard too, Bernard.
Yes, but I do want my questions from the town hall answered in that meeting. We need to present them. Here's what we heard and here's our answers. And now we're debating this. So I don't want that. I feel like we haven't really we haven't closed the loop on all those questions. We had a lot of unanswered questions, and I don't feel comfortable moving this forward until we answer those questions.
We only have.
That's my request.
We only have.
Fair enough, but again, we have an answer
So,
for the public.
so you want to answer those questions at the next meeting and then put this resolution at the end of April?
No, you can do it at the next meeting as far as I'm concerned.
But you just wanna have the answer to those questions. You don't want that to be ignored and move forward with the
That's-
resolution until we have
that's-
the answers to those questions.
Yes,
I will do my best.
thank you.
Sorry if I was jumping ahead. Now, do you feel good to kind of move on, or are we good with that?
I don't feel good about this at all.
Better start feeling.
No, you get paid to do whatever we tell you to do. There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate the direction, and we'll take it from there.
All right, so moving on to 7F, interim city administrator report.
Thank you. Mary Street got paid. If you haven't done it, take a look at it. It's a big turnaround.
Right.
Couple of issues they need to still deal with, but it's a great step forward. On our wastewater plant, pumps, the two new pumps are being repaired at no cost to us.
Well done.
And, the two old pumps will probably have to replace, but we have not determined that cost or the need yet, size, all that stuff, that's still the RFQ for the city engineer was published last Friday. Response due date is due April 15th, and we can select a city engineer legally. But we're gonna do that. This Thursday, I will be in Pasco, Washington, attending the Federal Partners Workshop. There's about 5 federal agencies that are getting together, and I'm gonna go and see, one, reestablish relationships with those units and see what kind of resources they have that maybe we can use for fire department equipment or whatever. But I feel the need to go there and participate in that workshop. Our EDA substation project, the request for bids for the refurbished transformer have been out. They are due back April 7th. And then the request for the construction bid, which is the transformer bid, is for the installation of the transformer. Removal of the current one, installation of the bid. The reconstruction bid is the distribution of the power from the transformer that has been installed to our grid. And that bid is, this morning I heard that it may be out this week, probably next week. And with 30 days or so for it to be processed, and we open those costs. So we should know in a month or so where we are with our budget for this project and whether or not we can get it completed by the end of January next year. We're making progress. It's moving forward. And finally, next council meeting, you will have a budget calendar. It will include a budget training session, budget committee meeting schedule, and dates for the adoption of the budget. And you will not see the budget until we get to the budget committee meetings. But again, Mary Ann is making excellent progress on getting us accurate numbers that we are more confident of. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's all I have.
Any questions for everybody about the city administrator report before we move on to audit? All right, so moving on to action items, 8A, approve 22-23 audit.
I did everything I could tell you on this thing, and the findings that the auditor and we were able to complete it, and as a basis to move forward with the 23-24. I just encourage you to adopt the budget, because best we're gonna do, the audit, excuse me, it's the best we're gonna do. If you have any specific questions on the audit, I'd be happy to try.
Got a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 22-23 audit.
Second.
I heard Bernard, all right, thank you, Tiffany and Bernard, our discussion. Go ahead, Tiffany.
So I just wanna know that you're like, since you're the interim, that you are keeping a list of the red flags that popped up in these reports for the next city administrator to be able to follow, because I mean, as you can see there, I'm like, yeah, there's some serious issues in this. I mean, the fact that we, the internal control frameworks, and yeah, it just, there's scary. On the, I do have a couple questions. On page 36.
Which?
The bigger one.
The big one.
Is
The audit.
the real, yes, I did sort of mostly read through it. It's kind of, yeah. On the bottom, it says, city recognized pension expense of $169,000. Is that for the whole year? Is that the whole year?
Probably, yes. Well, we only have 15 people and we're not taking their paycheck, so that's probably pretty fair.
Let me see, on page 38, the benefit plan, note number 8, defined benefit pension plan continued. Looks like that is all in a deficit, is that?
Yes, it's the PERS is in deficit, basically statistically, and we are just part of that.
Okay, so that's first.
Yeah.
And then on page 89, it says that the city has not registered the name and address of each depository with the state treasurer as required by ORS 295.006. Is that a new problem or is that just an overlook problem? What is that?
I am not sure what that is, but again, it's an internal control issue. We only have US Bank and the LGPI, so they should be registered.
But you have to register them every year.
Every year.
If they did not register, if you did not call them or fill out a form, whatever they want, every year, then yeah, you got a problem.
Yeah, so.
So somebody didn't do their job and register them here.
As far as I can see, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, yeah, I'm just hoping, I think the biggest thing was that I'm hoping you're keeping, because like the criteria, the 2 findings, a couple of the findings in the back, like the, on page 98, 99. The finding 002, the government accountability office standards, is that what we voted on tonight? Was that what we voted on to take care of tonight now? Is that something different?
That is something different. This is,
Lack of allowable cost policy.
that is that.
Okay.
That's 004, it says on here.
Well, 004 is the allowable policy.
Yeah.
2 is internal controls, segregation of controls. It's not good to have the person who receives the money distribute the money. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense. Yeah, because the money can be poached. Just not saying that it's happened, yeah. Okay, my biggest concern out of the whole thing is that you're making a list so that the next city administrator has, these are the issues, these are what we need. I'm sure Mary Ann's probably big one too, but
We're going to hopefully have, by the time we get the new guy, solid base for them to work. Absolutely.
Mayor's got her hand up. Go ahead, Mayor.
Sorry about that. Took me a minute to unmute. Thank you guys for working so hard on getting an audit done. I went back and researched and we actually started this audit in December of 2024. And I would like to point out that it's taken just over a month for our interim contract workers to get this audit done, and I'm so happy. I also wanted the approve allowable cost policy that we approved. That was recommended and required by the auditors as well. So that was part of us being in compliance, is to get that in place. And I'm just so glad that we're getting an audit done, and I see the audit tracker in here. And it just makes my heart sing that we're making progress. And I want to thank Mary Ann and Kathy and Gordon for all of their hard work in making sure these are getting done. And then also, as they do it, finding the fixes for it and putting things in place so this doesn't happen again. The letter that we received from the auditors this year or last year, that we were told, the council was told that it was just a routine letter. All the findings that they mentioned in that could be found have been found in this audit as well, because I went back and compared that as well. So just so we're on high alert and that we don't let this happen to us again. But I'm so glad that we got an audit done, and thank you guys.
Agreed.
Yes,
I think we're all in agreement on that, yeah.
thank you. Because I think a lot of us campaigned on that. I mean, a lot of us.
Everybody.
A lot of us campaigned on it. I mean, that was like number one on our list.
It's still on our list.
Well, it is, but I mean, at least we're finally making progress.
And not only is this one done, but we're 50% done with 23-24, and 25% done on 24-25. So it's, and the fact that Mary Ann was involved with the 22-23, I think it's gonna make the subsequent audits go so much faster. Bernard, do you have your hand up?
Yes, please. Thank you, Council President. So I just want to echo the comments that the mayor made. I can't express enough gratitude to the work that Mary Ann's done, our new interim administrator as well, and moving this ball forward. Again, we all campaigned on it because it's such a critical issue for the city. If you didn't, you really weren't, aware of the challenges that we're facing. And thank you. I made a special request from Mary Ann to bring back our audit status tracker. So I appreciate that, Mary Ann. And then on these, just to look at that, so we're working on 23-24. We actually have two that are concurrently being moved forward. Right now, we've got proposed 6:30. So is it safe to say that both staff and the auditor feels that's a reasonable date to achieve? Is that what we're understanding?
That is our understanding, our hope, and our goal is.
Okay.
Mary Ann does a great job, and our auditors are listening. So, and if you look through the audit, you'll see that they talk about working with management and how well they work together. That's all her. So, we might not make that June 30 date, but we're going to give it a shot. We got to get the budget first. So,
Okay.
And then we can turn our attention back to the audits and get that.
Right. So it's safe to say we're not experiencing friction on their side of the ledger. When we're putting stuff, they turn around. It's just a good back forth like
That's
tennis.
That's correct.
And that's okay. That's what I love to hear, because that's, we're making progress. When that flow is in place, then we're gonna move this thing as fast as possible, given the requirements. So great, yeah. I will just can't wait to have this 24-25 done and be back in good standing with the state and have clear fund balances for all our funds when we do our budget work. And it'll be a fabulous achievement, and thank you, yeah.
Quick question, and I remember when we originally 22-23, there was a cash discrepancy that you were working hard to try to identify, and if we couldn't find that, I think the direction that we got from the Secretary of State was filed anyway, and there might be a little bit of a black market to carry with us for subsequent audits. Is this, I know we got some deficiencies that were identified, but is this considered a clean audit? Is there anything here that's gonna?
Clean audit, they did not offer an opinion. But it's a whole lot better than we thought it was gonna be. Again, thanks to Mary Ann's work in cleaning up those discrepancies. And I don't guarantee that the next audit will be clean either, because we have the same issue.
Sure, yeah.
For the next two. We're not gonna get a clean audit again until we get to 20.
Current, yeah, for sure.
25, 26, you think?
Perhaps.
Maybe one more year, yeah.
Yeah,
Because this is.
And then, Mary Ann, when you've got 50%, 25% on the audit tracker, can you speak to what that means? as far as the next two audits and
Well, as far as, the 50%, I've got about 10 questions that the auditors want answered. Otherwise, it's my understanding they've got all the data for the next audit. However, by the time we work with that, there'll probably be a few more things. As far as the other audit, it's just automatic things that we have to do, and they're not that big of a deal. You know, to provide them with journal entries, provide them with financial statements and that kind of stuff. I think it's gonna flow fairly fast in my mind.
is that the PVC list or the PCB
Yeah,
list?
that list. And some of it doesn't pertain to us. There's some things that we just don't have and we don't do.
And that list has been the same for every audit. I think they had one minor adjustment, right, for the 24-25.
Yeah, it's been the same. It's obviously, a list that they send to all their customers. And, you know, some things that we can do, but there are things on that list that do not apply to us.
And have we given them everything that's on that list for the next two audits then?
No,
Not everything.
no, I'm concentrating on budget right now and financials for this current year. And then I will go back and get that done.
So just, sorry, I'm still trying to understand how these audits work, so I appreciate so even though the PVC list is exactly the same, because it's a new year, you still have to pull.
Yeah, it's
Pull
new data,
everything.
new data, yeah.
Got it, thank you.
And it's not just that, it's just fixing things that aren't done in order to catch up to be able to do the work that needs to be done now, because you have to have your previous information, and that Mary Ann's catching us up on that as well, so that that information is in place so that she can work off of that information. So it's not just turning in the information, it's also making sure that the information's in there to be able to turn it in. So, I mean, there's just, it's kind of like what I say gleaning. I mean, when you go glean, it's twice as much work for the same amount of pay. I mean, you're going and the nice big berries have been picked on the outside, but you gotta go deep inside the bushes and pick everything out. And that's the work that Mary Ann's doing, I feel. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but that's what I feel. I mean, I feel like she's doing the pretty
It's a
big
good
berries.
analogy.
Yeah, the pretty big
Twice the
berries,
amount of
they
work,
picked up
yeah.
on, yeah, the pretty big berries on the outside have all been picked, but you gotta get in there in the deep and pick them on the inside. So, yeah, it's just twice as much work to get the
Or
same.
your arms stretched out.
Yeah.
You got these blackberries going all up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a motion, it's been seconded, we've had a discussion, any other discussion before we have a vote? All right, let's go ahead and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, the motion passes unanimously.
Yay, well done.
Yeah. Mayor and council comments. Mayor, you wanna go first or do you wanna go last?
Oh, I would love to go first.
Okay, you're up.
Hey, thank all of you guys for being there and staff and council for supporting me during this trying time. But I appreciate it. I just have a few things. I was invited, Mayor Wilson of Portland has invited all the mayors in the state of Oregon to be in the Starlight Parade on June 6th. So I plan on doing that, even if I have to do it on a scooter. So I'm gonna look at getting a shirt or something that says Cascade Lock, so we represent well, and all that. And then I wanted to point out to you guys, we, without giving you too much information, but we had a citizen that received a notice and came into City Hall to talk about it. And the lady was deaf. And we have a city employee that her parents, Elena's parents, happened to be deaf. And she was able to communicate that conversation for us. And I wanted to really put a hand out to Elena for doing that for us. And what an asset we have sitting in our, with our city staff. We know we got many assets, but you know, sometimes it's nice to hear the kudos. And I want to like give her kudos for that and tell her how much I appreciate that. And I definitely know the lady that is deaf must have appreciated it. And what a shock that we would have somebody there that we didn't even know that had that skill. So thank you, Elena. Also, if you haven't done it yet, your SEI forms are due by April 15th, just like taxes. You fill them out if you're an elected official. And then the only other thing I have is I wanted to thank you, Bernard. I forgot to thank you last time for volunteering to be on the steer committee for the Tri-County waste thing. I really appreciate you stepping up to the plate because I know you're a busy guy and that's just one more thing. And I also want to just say again, thank you to the staff and to the city and everybody for everything because it's going to take a village to fix this. And I feel like we got the right village and I see us moving ahead on things. And I want to just say thank you to everybody. And I believe that's it. And Council President, if you can make sure at the end that we give Kathy a chance to share, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You bet. All right, Bernard.
So I want to make a motion that we get the mayor a tiara for the parade. I think that's appropriate.
And a tutu.
No, I don't have a tutu, but definitely a tiara. Tiara, a nice cascade locks, yeah. And then I bumped into Mr. Fox. He was driving around town. I was pedaling around. We saw each other. He pulled me over and he says, "Hey, I've just printed out a big report. I did an assessment of city light. I've been doing a observation of all the state of the condition of the utility, put that together in a report for the city. And needless to say, I would love to maybe get a presentation from our new superintendent and tell us what he found, because as someone, we had a good conversation about our electric utility, how important it is an asset. And because we've been understaffed for so long, it hasn't had that eyes-on thorough review. I would love to have the city administrator, if the council support him do a little presentation and just share us his findings. And then we can talk about some of the, I think much of his focus was very operational, like poles and wires. And then I kind of want to zoom out and talk about other bigger capital priorities. That undergrounding out on the Wyeth bank and some of the other things that I've been concerned about, and what I would love to eventually feed into the work plan for the electric utility, both short-term and long-term. Now that we've got leadership, we've got staff, it's really time to put this thing in gear and make some real progress forward on all those issues. So I don't know how council feels.
I see everybody nodding their head. I think we're all in agreement and supportive of that. So that's how you write it down. So excellent.
Mayor, does that sound good? I'm guessing you've already been presented that. Is that fair? I don't know.
No, I have not, but it's something that I wanted to see too.
Okay, great. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernard.
Super exciting, to get the budget moving forward again. And, well, thanks, everybody. I do have a quick question. It was brought up earlier, to advertise ESG on Facebook. Just for my reference, what's the difference between advertising ESG and river garbage? Facebook? When they changed their recycling policies, to include more recycling things, I had asked about putting it on Facebook since it's mandated by the city, and I was told no, and that's fine. But just for my own reference, it was brought up to put the ESG rebate opportunities on Facebook.
We haven't discussed that at all. I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, we wouldn't have put the river garbage on our Facebook page. They have their own Facebook page. And whether they serve this community or not, they're a money maker, their own thing. If you do Hood River Garbage, then you have to do, whoever else might come and say, can you put us on your Facebook? Well,
And that's fine, and that's not what I'm not arguing in favor of putting Hood River Garbage on our Facebook. I'm trying to find out where the line was drawn between the two, so that I know the difference for when we can advertise something on Facebook and when we
well,
can't.
I didn't know ESG was on our Facebook.
They're not, it was,
I suggested it.
it was brought up, and so I was just wondering, and if there isn't a difference, then awesome, cool, just for my personal reference.
Dave, we probably would not put that on our Facebook, they're on our website, and it's part of our utilities program, so they're on our website.
And it's in the newsletter.
But it's, both are in the newsletter.
And the newsletter is different now, so.
Yeah.
It's whatever there's room for, I guess, can go in there.
I mean, but I guess it's our page, why can't we choose what we wanna put on our page or not? You know, like if it's a benefit to our residents, why can't we put something on there that we
Or if
think is?
it's mandated by the city that residents have, why?
I mean, it's a municipality, I mean, it's a city, it's not like a business, but I feel like it's similar. If I've got a business page, I can pick and choose what I wanna put on there and what I don't, and it's not up to them to tell me what I put on my page, it's up to us to decide what we want.
Okay, but then the perception is,
Yeah.
you're either favoring or,
Is that what it?
you have to be really careful and be fair to everyone and treat everyone the same.
Because
It's not picking and
Because it's a
choosing,
government
it's
page, it's
treating
different than
everyone the same.
like a personal page or a business page, it's because it's a government page, so there can't be any perception of bias and unfairness.
Yeah, but several other cities, and municipalities put in the recycle on program updates on their city pages. So somebody somewhere's drawn the line.
Yeah, so, it's a good conversation.
Yeah,
I don't, do we have a Facebook policy from the city?
We
On what's
have
allowed and
a,
what's
we
not.
have a policy, social media policy.
Okay, well, I would love to see that, because I can't help but hear this conversation and go, there is a public good that is being supported when we promote recycling, when we promote use of ESG. Again, that reduces our tier 2 demand, it makes our customers, less burdensome on their household. All those things are things that as a city, we want to do more of. So the idea that we wouldn't, promote that on our Facebook page, I don't know, it seems odd. I would love to see the policy, and maybe we need to revise it to allow this type of promotion, because there is a public benefit to the city.
I saw Mr. Zimmerman write that down as you were saying it, so I think we'll probably see that.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Courtney?
That's all I've got, thanks.
Yeah, good discussion. though.
Thank you.
Tiff?
Okay, maybe the mayor can address this, but are we working on the audio? Because I had somebody contact me because they couldn't understand what I said last week. Mayor, do you know anything about, are we working on improving the audio or no?
We need to work on improving it, because I will tell you tonight, it's kind of hard, because if you guys hit your paper on the table or hit a pen on the table, it distracts from the audio. And if more than one of you talk, you can't hear it. So we need to figure it out. So it is, dependent, because every time you guys that hit the table, it cuts out on the audio.
What about crinkly chips? Did you hear that go?
That definitely would.
And Tiffany, yours is like the one table that doesn't
It doesn't
have
have-
a microphone.
Right.
I think we got 1, 2, 3 mics.
Yeah.
To cover 7 of us, so I'm glad to hear that, it's something I think we just need a line item in the budget for it, and then we can figure out the solution.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we don't lose that, because it's been one of my gripes since the beginning. Also, now that we only have one TV, is it possible to move it where more people can see it? Because people in the audience can't see it there. I mean, can we move it?
So that's part of the upgrade for the audio visual.
Okay, so that'll be something that'll happen, because Mary Ann doesn't have eyes in the back of her head. Yeah, okay. Also, I would like to see us, maybe at the next council meeting, I'm not sure, we need to redo the personnel chart because we have the utility director on there. I don't
That's
know.
part of the budget.
That's part of the budget, okay, just wanna make sure we don't, don't lose that. I would like to say that also, there has been more of a police presence since we kinda gave a little bit of a butt chewing the last time with some more expectation, so I've seen, specifically during school time when the lights flashing, they've been in town, and I've also seen state troopers too, so hopefully they got the message and it'll last longer than 2 or 3 weeks. You probably don't know anything on Senate Bill 114 yet. Do we even know if it's been signed by the governor one, the public meeting one? Okay. Hopefully you'll give us an update on that one.
Try to remember.
When if and when it happens. So I went to the League of Board of Cities president's meeting, and it was basically they're looking for direction in the way that they want their stakeholders. The stakeholders want them to respond to issues in the state of Oregon. I asked for the questions that they asked, and when I get them, I'll forward them to everybody, and you guys are welcome to put input on them. The one I remember the most was the carve outs. Do they want this cities to go after specific carve outs, basically smaller subjects that don't affect everybody, but might possibly could. So they just gave some good examples of that. So when I get that, I'll forward it. You guys, I would encourage you to go ahead and answer those questions and help give them direction, because they're gonna go, they wanna hear feedback. So I don't know, you have anything?
Yeah, I'd love to add that. Yeah, I also went, it was great forum. And to share a little more about the carve out. So LOC is a lobbying group. They lobby on behalf of cities and counties to make sure Salem doesn't screw us over, right? They're really, they're our front person in that arena. And they wrestle with, should we advocate for policies that apply regardless of size of city? Or should smaller cities get carved out of some of these things that sometimes have greater impact than a big city, right? It's harder for a small city to absorb something that a big city could easily manage. And for what it's worth, I was like, yes, please, small cities need to be treated differently, because we just don't have the depth of staff or the depth of resources to take on a lot of things that are probably great and well-intentioned at the state level, but will bury us. So that's an example, and it's called like the municipal lobbying policy. I can't remember. I said that.
Oregon municipal policy.
That's it. Thank you. And there's all these areas that they want to get feedback from us on how they're going to lobby on our behalf to be the most effective, group. So really great conversation, a lot of things going on, and they're doing an update. The last thing the time this was done, it was like 2004, so it's over 20 years old. There was no discussion on homeless back then, right? But make no mistake, there's going to be a healthy conversation about homelessness in this updated version. So anyway, it was great. Thank you for reminding.
And then my last thing is, I was told by the mayor that when you get your picture in the paper, you're supposed to bring ice cream. So I have creamsicles and things for everybody before they leave tonight. And sorry, Mayor, you're not here. Gosh, I can tell yours.
All right.
I'm done.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Don't tell Brenda.
Okay.
It's our little secret.
Hey, I just appreciate the staff with me out of it, and I appreciate the council. I think Castle right now, very fortunate to have the staff they have in the city, and frankly, the council and the mayor they got. I think we're gonna get rolling again here. So, yeah, feel good about it. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, and yeah, just I can't say, how excited I am. A round of applause to the council, that's something to celebrate, the 22-23 audit. Really neat to see us actually get that done. And definitely something to celebrate, and not without a lot of work though by staff, so much appreciated. The last council meeting, we had the sheriff report, and after that, we had a letter that was submitted, a note that was sent to me. So gonna see if I could find out who it was that sent it. It was a resident. First name was Neil, so I didn't get his last name, but he forwarded over a copy of the sheriff's report that they sent to the county quarterly. And then he also attached a report from the city of Veneta that shows kind of what their crime stats look like. And I wonder if we could maybe share that with council, because I think it was really, did that go to anybody else, or did it just come to me? You would have seen it. It was like, right, it was the day after our last council meeting.
Oh, nice.
I sent it.
Oh, you sent it to me?
I have the Benita,
What's that?
I have the Benita report.
Oh, so you were the one that sent the Benita report. Neil's the one that sent over the sheriff's report for the quarter.
The quarterly report, that's 4 or 5 pages of verbiage, where the Benita is 1 page and classified by things.
And it's got some graphs at the bottom. It was
For comparisons to years past, and that's what and there was enough on the agenda tonight that I didn't want to bring it forward.
But it would be, I think it'd be,
Particularly since we've seen an improved response already.
yes, but I feel like they have been responsive to requests by council, and I think that was something that we all talked about. I appreciate the fact that we had residents that are tuned in and watching what we're talking about, and then helping us. I think that's really, so I just want to say thank you to Neil. I don't have a last name.
It was Joel, who's the county sergeant, that sent us the quarterly report that goes to the commission.
Oh, so
It was him,
I see.
and then I asked the 240 other cities what they did, and I got one response from Benita.
So, well, thank you. Okay, then let's recognize our interim city administrator then for taking some action. I wasn't even sure how that whole thread developed, or just the form that was submitted. It was just a contact us form through the website that had just the first name. It didn't have any other.
Well, I don't know about Neil, but Joel's the one that sent us the county's report, and then I got it from, I don't know if Bernard remembers Matt Michael. He was an electric utility manager down in Springfield, who is now a city manager in Benita. And he sent me back here's what we get from the city of Benita gets from Lane County. So,
Yeah.
but again, there was enough.
We had enough here, yeah. But it was something we talked. We still got more, but it was something we talked about at the last council meeting, and there was some movement on that. I just wanted to share on that, a little bit more information about that. So looking forward to hearing other people's input on that, but I think we've got a template that we could maybe adapt and utilize for the city with the sheriff's department. If the county's going. But again, I really don't want to, I don't want to take away from detracting public safety, because we have an office, a computer, typing up a report. We want them out of the street. Improving public safety is really the end goal. That's really, I think it was all I had. So that's all I got. Kathy, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say, we miss your face around here. Can't wait till you're back. I just want to say that it feels really great to see things moving forward. I'm really excited, and I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So thanks everyone for all the support. And I do believe we have a great staff. Elena has been a huge help. And it's just really good that we can all work together, and we have some brighter days here at City Hall.
It's great to hear. Well, thank you very much. All right, so We're going to recess our regular session. We're gonna move into executive session. We're under ORS 192.660-2H, legal counsel.
You have to stop
Okay,
recording.
yeah, you gotta let me,
Oh, yeah, let's get a pop.
You can-
We do that in our break,
you
you
can-
can manage.
you can't do that.
That's right. You can do that during your
I'm gonna
break.
do our executive session too.
I get up.
Our regular session.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
In a second,
Second.
all those in favor, any discussion? Okay, all those in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any
Thank you,
opposed?
guys.
All right, pass, we're done.
Thank you all for your.